Sandra, North Korea firing a missile over Japan for the first time in 5 years. The move prompting warning sirens across that country. Listen here. The missile flew far enough to put it within reach of U.S. territory in Guam, Pyongyang's latest launch, seen as the most provocative weapons exhibition by North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Morgan Ortagus is a former State Department spokesperson and founder of Polaris National Security. Morgan, it's great to see you. So is this Kim Jong-un saying, don't forget about me, I'm still here. You might be focused on other things, but I'm still here.
It's exactly that, and I think his provocations are a result of the Biden team really not paying attention to this problem set. They're going to have to start taking North Korea and Kim Jong-un more seriously. They will today because of this test, which, of course, as you mentioned, went over Japan. This is really provocative because we have had 20 of these tests in just 2022 alone. We're only just now at the beginning of October. This is more than any other missile test on file. I'm hearing chatter that they could even potentially test another nuclear weapon. So there hasn't been this level of missile tests since 2017, when the Trump administration put together those really comprehensive sanctions at the United Nations. And so essentially what you saw under the Pompeo State Department is a targeted campaign every day, 24/7, to put pressure on North Korea and on Kim Jong-un. We did that by having a dedicated special envoy and a dedicated diplomatic team that went around the world to make sure that companies in North Korea could not evade sanctions. It's a really key and crucial point of what we did differently that the Biden team is not doing, which I think leads to these provocations that we see today.
Yeah, to your point about that, here's what the National Security Council said in response to this launch. This action is destabilizing and shows the DPRK's blatant disregard for United Nations Security Council resolution and international safety norms. The United States will continue its efforts to limit the DPRK's ability to advance its prohibited ballistic missile and weapons of mass destruction programs. But when you compare it to what was being done in the previous administration, what exactly are they doing to that end?
Well, this is one of the reasons why we need to really invest in our own missile defense. I mean, listen, there's a couple key strategy documents, and I'm getting a little new, in the weeds, but there's a few key strategy documents that the Biden team has not released. One is our missile defense review, our national security strategy, our national defense strategy. There's been no unclassified versions of these documents to the public. And especially as we see the nuclear threats that you have reported on from Putin, as we see the Iranian regime unwilling to go back into the Iran nuclear deal so far. And of course, as we see these provocations by North Korea, we have to invest. We have to put our money where our mouth is and invest in strong missile defense here at home. And we need a dedicated, at the State Department, we need a dedicated envoy, just as we had in the Pompeo years, that is focusing on this. We had a whole team of diplomats that would go country by country to stop things like illegal exports of North Korean coal, illegal imports of petroleum. You can take interdiction efforts, you can take on more sanctions efforts. But the problem with the Biden sanctions regime around the world is he's allowed it to lax and not be enforced in Iran and in Venezuela. So when you allow that to happen, when you don't enforce sanctions in one theater, as they have not done with Iran and Venezuela, then you see this in other theaters. Then you see again, the Biden team should stop talking really big and actually put some pressure on North Korea, dedicate a diplomatic team to this, and start enforcing these sanctions that are already on the books. The Trump team put them there.
Morgan, we've just about got 30 seconds left, and I do want to get this point in that we talked about earlier, and that is Putin, Ukraine. He seems to be, for all of his bravado, in a lot of trouble in many places.
It's really hard to engage internally what's going on, but we do know a number of factors. One is a lot of his opposition forces that he would normally use internally to clamp down suppression. A lot of them have been in Ukraine and have faced very tough losses on the battlefield. And of course, as your report said, we've seen these losses in city by city around Ukraine today. And so Putin's in a tough place because he is facing these losses, and he is consistently looking at home and not able to find the answers that he needs. More and more unrest we're seeing in Russia.
Yeah, and even China's sort of looking at him warily now, saying, do we throw him with the right guy? We'll see where it all goes. Morgan, always great to see you.
They
Thank you.
did not.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks.
Thank you.